According to Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, 1 in 3 people will be involved in a drunk driving accident in their lifetime. On the night of August 4th, 2013, I became a part of that statistic. On that night, because of choices Ryan Rivard made, he changed my life, the lives of my family, and his own family forever. I have been a Green Bay police officer for 12 years. I am proud to serve the citizens of Green Bay. On the night of August 4th, I was working and had stopped at Quick Trip on Lombardi Avenue for a late night coffee because I worked until 11 o'clock p.m. While at Quick Trip, I received a call to back up a fellow officer. I acknowledged the call and walked out the door. It is overwhelming to grasp how seconds can change your entire life. Just seconds prior, I was walking out the door of Quick Trip, and now a paramedic was telling me I was going to be cut out of my squad car. I began to feel intense pain throughout my body. The pain on the left side of my body, especially my shoulder, was unbearable, a pain so intense I would not wish it on anyone. After being removed from my car, I was placed in an ambulance and transported to the hospital. I asked if the other driver was okay and thought, thank God I woke up. This incident has seriously affected my family. On the night of August 4th, my husband's worst fear was realized. My husband hoped he would never see the day another officer showed up at our doorstep while I was working. He knew that meant something bad had happened to me. My husband did not know I was still alive until arriving at the hospital and seeing me in the ER. This traumatic experience will be with him forever. Furthermore, my now 6-year-old son is more concerned than ever about me. After the accident, if I was not right on time to pick him up from school, he would get upset and cry. When I would ask why he was so upset, he would tell me he didn't know if I was okay and if I was coming to get him. He also associated the smell of flowers with my accident because of the flowers in my hospital room. My son would smell flowers and tell me, Mom, why does it smell like your accident? Not only his sense of smell, but in eating something, he would say it tasted like my accident. As for myself, 9 months later, I'm still dealing with the physical injuries and emotional scars from the accident. I'm still not back to patrol because of my injuries. Prior to the accident, I considered myself somewhat of an athlete. I was an avid runner and regularly competed in half marathons. When I left the hospital 8 days after the accident, I couldn't even stand up straight. With a plate and screws in me that repaired a shattered clavicle along with broken ribs, a punctured lung, a tear in my knee, torn ligaments in my back and neck, and back pain, I went from being athletic to relying on my husband 100%. He had to get me in and out of bed, dress me, bathe me, make meals, do all other household chores, and take care of our 2 young children, ages 2 and 5 at the time. 2 months after being released from the hospital, I was still not able to hold my children or have them even sit on my lap. I was in so much pain. Having anyone touch me anywhere was painful. I wanted the days to end in the hope I would feel just a little bit better the next day. We had to have help from family and friends to make it through each day. I learned the other driver in the accident, Ryan Rivard, was speeding and suspected of drunk driving. I could not believe it when I was told Ryan was traveling at 96 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone 2.5 seconds prior to impact. I read a statistic that the average drunk driver has driven drunk 80 times before their first arrest. I learned Ryan was only 25 years old with 3 priors for OWI. Considering Ryan now has been caught 4 times, it is a good bet, according to statistics, Ryan has put others in danger by driving drunk many more times than just the 4 he has been caught for. As a police officer, I've always believed in second chances and try to see the good in everyone. I do not hate Ryan. I know he is struggling with something that I don't understand. However, I cannot understand how Ryan can act with total disregard for human life. He had to know his actions that night would cause something bad to happen. When he made the choice to drive 96 miles an hour down Lombardi, he not only put himself at risk, but the lives of innocent people, the same people I swore to protect. I guess in a roundabout way, I was able to save some other innocent person who would have been hit had I not been there. Only by some miracle or divine intervention am I alive right now. I believe a citizen in their vehicle would have been killed by Ryan. Somehow, for that shift, I was lucky enough to have one of 3 vehicles in our entire fleet with side airbags. Also, I was wearing body armor, and I know that protected me from more serious or fatal injuries to my torso. How has Ryan not killed anyone yet? This was his 4th offense. In his 3rd drunk driving offense, he also caused an accident. He caused the other vehicle involved to roll over. Ryan then fled the scene of that accident. A 4-year-old little girl was injured. Will it take a fatality for Ryan to realize the seriousness of what he's doing? His history shows he has not changed and continues to make poor choices in life. I think it's important for Ryan to deal with the consequences of his actions. Ryan made a choice and had to know what could come of it. He did not care about anyone else that night. How could he? Because of Ryan's choices, my life, the lives of my family will never be the same. Besides physical ailments, the emotional scars to my family will last a lifetime. My children will always wonder if I will make it home safe. Ryan also affected his loved ones too. They have to suffer from the choices that he made. I'm sure he has hurt them as well. I would like to see Ryan sentenced to 10 years in prison. Considering everything Ryan was initially charged with carries a maximum sentence of 52 years, I'm asking for a fraction of that. I hope at some point Ryan is able to put his life back together and be a productive member of society. For now, Ryan is a danger to himself and others.
Thank you.
I would like to attempt to express to you how deeply sorry I am for what happened. I'm not even sure there are sufficient words. I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me, and more importantly, I hope you and your family can get some closure and comfort from this apology. No words will change what happened, but please know that I think about the impact this has had on you and your loved ones every single day. I can relate in a sense because I experienced my mother fall victim to cancer. It was something outside of my control that caused pain to someone I loved dearly, and I know how that made me feel. I use that example for the sole purpose of trying to show a common ground and put myself in your shoes. With that said, my deepest regrets go to you, your children, your husband, your parents, and other family members, friends, co-workers, and the community as a whole. I mean that with all due respect and sincerity. I made a bad choice that day when I got behind the wheel impaired, and I thank God that we are both here today. I have difficulty living with the outcome as it is, and I cannot imagine if it was worse. Never again will I put innocent people at risk by driving drunk the way I did. Please rest assured of that at least. I hope this does some justice to convey my feelings. Thank you for your time and to consider my apology. I pray that everything works out for you and that you make a full recovery.
And we all know this is an incredibly serious offense. Ms. Liska indicated in her statement what her injuries were. They're indicated here in the pre-sentence report. I know you've gone over the pre-sentence report, so you know all the injuries that were sustained. And let's face it, but for the grace of God, you're here on a homicide charge. You know, the difference was the side airbag and her armor vest. But for that, it's homicide. And I have a widower and, 2 children without a mom. And that's how close you were, the grace of God. I can't imagine not being able to hug your 2-year-old. I'm fortunate enough to have a 2-year-old grandchild who I hug, probably 4 or 5 times a week when she comes over. I can't imagine it being your own child and not being able to hug them because of what you did. But at that speed, it was a lethal speed. And you knew it was just a matter of circumstances when you would kill someone at that speed. I mean, someone somewhere was going to get killed that night. It didn't happen, but let's face it, the injuries sustained by Officer Liska were incredible. They were horrific. And it wasn't, anything you did that stopped short of death. I mean, this is a serious offense and should have a significant penalty. If you look at the offense itself, I'll say right now, you're fortunate that Ms. Liska is the character and quality of a person that she is, that she tells me that actually she doesn't hate you. And they're only asking for 10 years incarceration because I'll tell you, in my other cases here on my 20-some years on the bench, I have the people on this side of the aisle saying, give him the max. Put him away for 25 years. Make sure he doesn't walk these streets again. And there's some good argument that, why should her 2 children, when they grow up, have to walk down the same sidewalk you get to walk down when you came this close of taking away their mother? Why do you deserve the same rights and privileges to walk in this community that they do, considering how reckless and callous you were? And then especially, and I guess this goes into the character of the offender, after you've had the 3 priors and you injure that young little girl, how does that not cause you to change? How do you not think at that time, but for the grace of God, a 4-year-old child would be dead because of me? and then turn your life around. But no, you go out again and you risk the citizens of this community. I received all these letters, and there's a lot of people have an awful lot of nice things to say about you. You're apparently well respected at work. You're well loved by your family. I recognize, you've had a very, difficult, life. With your dad's suicide and the other deaths in your family, and it hasn't been easy. But there's a lot of people who have gone through challenging lives that don't get into a car drunk and drive 96 miles an hour. There's all sorts of people that have all sorts of challenges and tragedies, and then they persevere, and they come through with good lives. They add to the community. You had some tragedies in your life, and what did you do with it? You became, in a sense, a drunk. I mean, let's face it, I agree with those statements that you probably get away with it 80 times until you get caught, and probably 80 times between each time you get caught. There's drunk drivers out there every night. It'd be nice if we could catch every one of them. I must say this, you rarely see an individual charged with this serious of a felony that doesn't have a more significant criminal record. I mean, you don't have, a bunch of thefts and, some other marijuana charges and, a burglary or two or something. Obviously, alcohol has been your problem in life, and that's what's brought you here today. Probably have to consider looking at the need to protect the public. And obviously, the longer I put you away, the more the public is protected from you. But the problem of drunk drivers, killing and maiming our citizens is beyond just a couple people here in court. It's beyond just those on each side of the aisle. I know there's a lot more people here and some left at the break, and I really wanted to ask, not expect anyone to raise their hand, but how many people, when this happened last, August, said to themselves, that's it, I'm done drinking. I'm no longer buying a beer for myself. I'm no longer buying a beer from a friend because I'm not going to put any more profit into those beer companies, so they keep putting ads out to teach a kid from birth on that alcohol is the only way to enjoy life. The trouble is, Mr. Rivard, there are young 6-year-olds today that are going to turn into people like you because they drive down Lombardy Avenue and they see on Lambeau Field the big beer sign. We all have to bow down to the big beer signs. These are important things, and life is about beer. And so little kids from birth on get socialized and conditioned to think you have to have beer to enjoy life. And I know people say, well, but it's okay to have beer, you just can't, drink. But the problem is we all know alcohol impairs our ability to make clear decisions. So we all know that clear decisions go out the window once you start drinking, whether you're at a 0.01, 0.02, 0.03. And then eventually you get up to a 0.07 and you get in the car and you drive. And unfortunately, too many times people get killed. I would have hoped everyone in this room, I hope every one of your relatives, everyone on the other side would have all said after August 4th, enough is enough. I'm not drinking, I'm not putting money into the alcohol business because it's a scourge in our community. It doesn't help us. I don't think too many people do because we all go on in life thinking, well, a little bit of beer is okay, a little bit of alcohol, a drink here, a drink there. I'm sorry. To protect the public, we really need, in a sense, everyone committed, to not have, alcohol to the way we do here in Wisconsin, not drink the way we do, which leads to driving the way we do. I didn't ask anyone to raise their hand. I would have raised mine. I don't drink. I'm probably not a good judge to have in these cases because I've never drank. And I refuse to buy a drink or buy a beer. When people come to my house, they don't get alcohol because I won't give a penny to profit the alcohol companies to condition kids from birth on that you need alcohol to enjoy life. You don't. So I can protect the public from you by a long sentence. The trouble is everyone in this courtroom needs to protect the public with themselves and some dedication and determination to not drink. If they got a TV camera here, I doubt they'll put that on the news because they have advertisements from morning till night about how great alcohol is. Fun. Life isn't fun without it.